What's up? Just got home from a run. Oops, microphone is upside down. And I feel a little bit strange saying I just got home from a run because sometimes I feel like explicitly uh, disclaiming habits that you could consider healthy could be seen as egoic in a sense, because sometimes, to be honest, it is. People tend to want to put out their good but not their bad. That's why Instagram could help you get into a pit of despair caused by comparison, because you see the chaos that is your life, and you see everyone only talking about the good things that they are going through and not the bad ones, and that makes it so that you start suffering a lot. And so, to be completely honest with you here, I just got from a run because I felt like if I didn't, I would be surrendering to my addictions again. And to be honest with you, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of getting myself in some loop where I start to experience some external brain stimulation, like drinking some coffee, or I don't know, playing some games on the computer, and feeling like that makes me feel pulled into this circle of dopamine stimulation where the where I'm just gonna go down in seeking more and more dopamine. And I can also see like how engaging into those habits puts my mind into a mode where I start to seek more dopamine. Because the thing is, drinking some coffee, eating some sugar, those things put you in some sort of high, right? Especially if you're already someone who's becoming sensible. For example, someone who, I mean, if you're sensible, you know what I'm talking about. You have a sensible nervous system. There comes a point where you you start to notice the difference in your state of mind even after you eat some sort of sugar, drink some coffee, and that puts your mind into a you could say a manic state. You could say a state that really makes you wired, not in a good way. It makes you want to seek more stimulation. And then once the effects tend to start to dry down, you start to experience the valley. You were at this stage, and then you started falling. And then, at least for me, the tendency is I start to my mind starts to want to seek the next experience. It starts to want to seek the next external dopamine hit. And this is what I feel like creates some oscillation in my life. I mean, pendulum swinging, right? But if you just bear with that tediousness for a moment, if you bear feeling like shit for a moment, you start to recover yourself. And once you're in a state of stableness, of the the absence of those mountains and valleys, a new trip or journey starts to awaken. And you might feel like what I'm talking about here is, you could be feeling like what I'm talking about here is, like, what are you talking about? You may not know what I'm talking about, and that's fine. I don't know why I'm saying this, but this journey that I'm talking about here, it's the journey of stillness. And this is where deep work can begin. Because once you, if you are going through some dopamine seeking experience, which many people are, and they do that without realizing the rat race that they're on, we need to understand by looking at ourselves that people do that for the same reason as us, and that is running away from the present moment, running away from a certain type of feeling. And and this is what shadow work really is. This is what integration is. Making the unconscious conscious. It's it's to experience the courage to stop running away from your pain and looking at it and talking with it. And that is where many techniques come. You could talk about journaling, you could talk about creative expression. And this is a subject that you can explore from many different sides. For example, there are some people out there that say sometimes you just need to experience those cycles, which could be seen as your karma, and you basically, when you are living through that, you are burning that karma, and one day you will simply realize the pattern that you were on, and that will allow you to transcend it. Nevertheless, at the same time, you could be in a place where you are already aware of the pattern, but you're feeling like you don't have enough strength to go and transcend that. Of course, you cannot transcend something with your human strength, nor even with your strong will of your mind. And so you start to study and to look for techniques. And in the process of looking for those techniques, you might learn some stuff that will actually be useful to you. And coincidentally or paradoxically, that is what may help you burn your karma faster. I mean, this is just how I see things at the moment. Whatever the case may be, in the midst of all of this, I think you can feel some love inside you. I think in the middle of your struggles, you can decide to simply forget about them for a while and just feel the presence of God. Just allow yourself to feel the presence of God. Allow yourself to realize that you can watch yourself from a third person view, for example, and you can see yourself struggling to overcome certain things. You can also see yourself winning those struggles. You can see yourself going through the grind, and you can see yourself realizing your true nature. And you can remember that your true nature is never going to leave you, no matter what you're going through. And this may support you in your endeavors, in your spiritual material endeavors. Of course, when I say material endeavors here, I don't necessarily, I'm not necessarily talking about money. I'm talking about materiality, bringing God to this reality, you know. I think this is a very good way to experience things because you lose the seriousness of it all. Yes, you may watch yourself getting so tired of going through the same thing over and over, and then you can realize yourself getting tired. You can watch yourself getting tired. And from that point of view, you can decide to change. Not from a place of running away from the pain, but from a loving place of deciding new paths for you, new ways of moving forward. And this is what's so beautiful about this life, about God, is that there's always a way, there's always a path. I'll see you next video.